Hey folks, so it's been a while since I've done an update on pickups, and to be perfectly honest, this isn't great news. TLDR, I am bailing on the pickups for now. They've kicked my ass 3 times in a row, and with a month to go before the contest ends, I just don't have the time to spare on hunting down the bugs. So I'm going to end up buying and customizing a set of humbuckers and using that instead. That's really all I wanted to say. I'm going to go on a bit of a rambling explanation of what I think has gone wrong and how I could go about fixing it, but that's probably not going to be to everyone's taste. To encourage people to stick along, at the end of this video I'm going to put all the gags that I shot for the previous version of this video when I hoped that everything I was going to do was still going to work out. Hopefully that's enough incentive. So the new, smaller neodymium magnets arrived in the mail about a week back. I printed a new frame for them, I assembled a test pickup, and I tested them. TLDR, still meh. I know I didn't include a sound demo of the previous setup, but I can assure you that this new setup sounds pretty much the same as the old neodymium setup. It is not what I was going. Around the time last week when the new magnets arrived in the mail, someone called Michael Menks left a comment on the first humbucker video, to the effect that the problems I was having with my humbuckers were really down to low inductance. And you know what? Michael Menks was right. I went back to my research and I realised that I made one really fundamental error. I based a lot of what I did on forum threads I found. I found a forum thread where someone did a teardown of an alumitone. They stated that the coils attached to an alumitone had about 10,000 winds on them. I mistakenly assumed that that meant 10,000 winds in total between the two coils. It turns out that it's 10,000 winds on each coil, so 20,000. I wound my coils to 5,000 each, assuming that putting them in series would give me 10,000 winds. Only it doesn't. Now, this is all as I understand it. I am probably entirely wrong. Transformers work on the ratios between the primary and secondary coils, or even tertiary coils or quaternary coils. If you have 2 coils that are equal in series, the ratio is still the same. 2 5,000 to 1s, and put them in series, you get a 10,000 to 2, which is pretty much the same as 5,000 to 1. So, solution simple, right? More copper. Well, yes, but also no. Yes, more copper would solve it. No, I can't really put more copper on it. As I've said before, the thing that's really limiting me is the transformer laminations. I scrounged them by recycling some audio transformers because it's virtually impossible to buy transformer laminations. That place you're about to tell me about in the comment section, the one where you got those laminations for that vintage amp you refurbished back in 2012, odds are, right now, it's a page 404, or the place has changed its business model and is just not selling to anyone but industrial customers. Well then, I hypothetically hear you cry, can you make the bobbins bigger? Yes, I already have. The bobbins are bigger than the stock ones that came with the transformers. I could rewind. I could squeeze maybe an extra 1,000 winds on them, but if I print them again and make them any bigger, the transformer laminations won't mesh together. If the transformer laminations don't laminate, the transformer doesn't work. So bigger is out. Well, what else is there? Ferrite cores. With laminations unobtainable to the DIY hobbyist, ferrite cores have pretty much become the de facto ferrite that you can buy on the internet in places like DigiKey, Mouser. The catch, as I understand it, and again this is a could be wrong situation, the differences between the magnetic flux of the ferrite materials and the silicon steel laminations used in laminated transformers mean that if I wanted to use ferrites, I would have to use big ferrites, as in big or bigger than your average humbucker cavity. So that's out. So what else? Theoretically, I could get the right ratio by taking one of my humbuckers and turning it into a single coil by cutting it in half and replacing these short magnets by the old longer magnets. And it's tempting. I will give you that, it is tempting. Thing is, if I've overlooked something and it doesn't work, then I've just destroyed a kind of working magnet, and I'm not willing to take that risk. So what else? In his comment, Michael Menks made another suggestion: active pickups. I was dubious of it, not because of any passive versus active tone controversy, and not because I didn't think it could work. Contrary to popular opinion, I know that people have reverse engineered EMGs and have worked out just what exactly makes them tick and what the circuits are and how to make them from scratch. I was dubious specifically because it involves circuits designed by guys on forums 10, 15 years ago with no source, no official idea who first created these, just, you know, oh, I saw this on the forum once, here's a picture of the circuit, this is totally what Kirk Hammett uses in his guitar, honest. My bro Todd was backstage at a gig in '92 and saw a roadie working on the guitar, and that's totally what Kirk Hammett has, dude. That level of weirdness in electronics. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I also got to add this just for the naysayers, or the people who say you can't make active pickups by hand. That's partially true. There is a catch. When most people say you can't make passive pickups active, what they mean is you can't take the active circuitry from an existing active pickup and install it into a passive. Active pickups are wound significantly lower than regular passive pickups. They're wound low, they have a low inductance, and that signal is then sent to usually an op-amp based preamp system that's inbuilt into the pickup, which boosts the signal and generates that active tone that we're familiar with. If you were to take a passive pickup, which is, say, wound significantly higher, and apply an active circuit, you would get a preamp-like boost from the circuitry, but the sound would be completely different than what you would get off a pickup that's specifically designed to work with those active circuits. That's generally what people mean by you can't make passive pickups active. You can, it just won't sound like what you expect an active pickup to sound like. I thought, seeing as I had two passive pickups, which were pretty low inductance to begin with, this might work. So I gave it a try. I found two circuits on the internet which really met the criteria I was looking for. Not only were there videos of them working and in action, I could find sources of people who claimed to have invented them, which I will link to in the comments below. This JFET-based preamp circuit created by someone called Don Tillman in the early 90s, I believe. This, theoretically, is a reverse-engineered EMG 81 circuit, but using a slightly different op-amp, created by someone called Bajaman from the Free Stomp Boxes forums. I found the circuits, I bought the components, I made them. Didn't work. The Tillman JFET-based amplifier produces static. Now, to be perfectly fair, on the Till.com website, Don Tillman suggests that not every JFET will be able to work because of the variable natures of production of JFETs. I bought 3 JFETs, and it turns out that all 3 are duffers. That one wasn't going to work. The reverse-engineered EMG with a TL0601 preamp, I had a lot of high hopes for, but yeah, I checked everything. The circuit checks out, the wiring checks out, it is definitely drawing 9 volts, but it is not making a single sound. I've done something wrong here. I was about to go on a gremlin safari, try and troubleshoot all the bugs and work out what the hell was going wrong. But then I noticed the date. Today, when I'm recording this video, it is now the 20th of May. I believe the GGBO ends on the 20th of June. While I would love to try and fix this, I don't have the time before the contest ends. I'm about a week behind where I thought I would be on my body build, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to trying to iron out all the bugs in electronics that I am still not 100% certain I fully understand. So I am going to put the pickups that I've made aside and work on them after the contest is ended. Maybe it was a little bit too ambitious of me to think that I could absolutely 100% nail inductive pickups the very first time that I had ever tried making my own pickups. Maybe it was even more ambitious that when that failed, I just said, you know what, screw this. I've tried making Lumitones from scratch, now I'm going to make Fishman Fluences from scratch. But you know, it was a fun ride. It sucks that I failed at the 85% mark, but you know, c'est la vie. Failure is always an option. For now though, I'm just going to buy a set of custom pickups and modify them cosmetically to match the best car look that I will be going for the bridge. Quick teaser. This is what the body looks like. Anyway, that's all I've got to say, so yeah, thanks for watching. And now the gags. Maybe we should start with a quick recap. Where's my magnet? In the wrong place. I know, right? What are the odds? Well, I asked 3PO, and the probability of successfully getting useful feedback from a YouTube comment section is approximately 3,720 to 1. Lemon curry? So Michael's other suggestion was active pickups. I scoffed at that. Everyone knows you can't just make active pickups. You have to go on a quest to the lands of Semor Donconia, to the altar at the peak of Mount Iemji. There, knees bent in humble supplication, with an offering of gold, you beg the metal gods to grant you a boon of active pickups. If your faith is true, you are rewarded. That I'll buy on Amazon. But, you know, some of us still hold to the old ways. I made a fundamental error when I made my pickups out of aluminum. If I'd made them out of aluminium, they might have worked. So the stage producer, dumbfounded by what he's just seen, turns to the father and asks, "My God, I've never seen anything like your act. What do you call it?" And the father, who you'll recall is still stark naked and covered in that bucket of pig's blood, proudly puffs up his chest and announces,